Months ago, analysts warned that Barcelona's system could turn its star wingback, Alejandro Balde, into a defensive liability. Nobody listened.
And it's been a long season, it's been a tough season for them, and certainly the last few games have been really tough. I don't know what kind of back four.
But now, opponents are exploiting the exact weaknesses they pointed out.
A mockery of this high line, just balls over the top, running forwards.
Today, we break down the tactical warning everyone ignored and show how Barca's system might be failing its rising star. The 2025-26 season has been an interesting one for FC Barcelona. Under Hansi Flick, the team is playing exciting, aggressive football, and the results have largely been positive.
Like that, normally we have the quality to also to control more the game. This is what I missed in the last game. So we have to increase this level.
On the surface, it's a picture of success. But when you scratch beneath that surface, you find a deep-seated anxiety, a fragility that threatens to cause problems down the line. There's a feeling that the team is vulnerable, and at the heart of this defensive conundrum is Alejandro Balde. Balde is, without question, one of the most dynamic and thrilling fullbacks in world football. His value is measured in pace, acceleration, and his ability to carry the ball from his own third into the opposition's box. Flick's system is built to leverage these strengths, positioning him high and wide, almost as a second winger, to stretch defenses and deliver the final ball. For much of the time, it's worked brilliantly. But a worrying trend is starting to emerge. Teams are beginning to target his flank. The very channel he's meant to dominate an attack is becoming a potential highway for opposition counters.
It's clear that they go back to the super high line, super aggressive. That I think at some through the rest of the season, if they keep that, will cause them a lot of trouble.
He went from being a cornerstone of the attack to being labeled a potential weak link in defense by some critics. The question everyone is now asking is, what's going on? The truth is, this isn't just about one player's form. This is about a systemic risk, a tactical gamble that might be showing its downside. To understand the warning, we have to look at the tactical theory. Think about how an opponent might set up against Flick's Barcelona. The game plan would be painfully obvious: let Balde push high, win the ball, and immediately play it into the vast space he has vacated. Time and time again, we could see the same sequence. Balde, following tactical instructions, would be positioned near the opposition's penalty area. The moment possession is lost, a fast winger is released into that channel.
It is every bit of a circus defensively, and what's really surprising, not that it is a circus defensively, is that you just got assaulted. You just got dominated and humiliated by Atletico Madrid.
The problem here is twofold. First, there's the sheer amount of grass Balde is expected to cover. We are talking about a 50 or 60-yard recovery run, not as part of a structured defensive shift, but as a desperate sprint to put out a fire. Second, and this is the critical point analysts warned about, is the potential for a failure of the rest defense. While Balde is attacking, the players who are supposed to cover that space, the left-sided center back and the left central midfielder, have to be perfectly positioned. If they are too slow to shift across or are caught ball watching, a gaping hole is left in the most dangerous area of the pitch.
It's defenders halfway into the opposition half going to press, and they don't get there.
A smart attacker doesn't even have to be particularly clever. They just have to run into the enormous gap. Barcelona's system can sometimes gift them. We also can't ignore the physical context. Since his significant hamstring injury in the past, there's always a question about a player's explosive recovery pace. A system that demands a physical freak to cover its own cracks could be asking too much. If a game against a counter-attacking side shows what happens when Balde is targeted, what happens when he isn't there at all. With Balde having faced injury spells, Flick has had to turn to alternatives like Gerard Martin. This is where the problem becomes even clearer.
We've talked about Barca's sort of defensive fragility this season, and it's still there. We talk about the high line, but a lot of it is about what's going on ahead of that high line.
Without a player who has Balde's unique recovery pace, the high line can look wobbly. A center back like Jules Koundé can get caught in no man's land, unsure whether to track the runner or hold his position. This hesitation, born from a change in personnel, shows the issue isn't just about one player. The flaw is systemic. The system is so reliant on having a player with Balde's specific attacking and recovery attributes that it may not have a simple plan B.
A lot, really. Defensively, there are a lot of issues.
The system struggles with a traditional defensively minded fullback. Everything is built around Balde's attacking runs. Ironically, that same system puts him in danger defensively. It's a tactical catch-22. Barcelona's defense runs on a knife's edge, perfect pressing from the front, immediate counter-pressing after losing the ball, and midfielders flawlessly covering channels. The moment one element falters, which top teams can exploit, the player furthest from goal, the attacking left-back, is the one left exposed. So, let's connect the dots. Here's the core issue, the why. Why does Hansi Flick's high-line, possession-heavy system, supposedly perfect for a player like Balde, actually put him at risk? It comes down to three interconnected tactical risks. First, the aggressive high line. Flick demands his defenders hold a high position to compress the pitch and fuel the press.
Or we go on our way, our philosophy, how we want to do it, and make things much better.
In theory, it works. But if the press is bypassed, opposing midfielders suddenly have time on the ball to pick out the most dangerous pass right in behind the fullback. A high line without suffocating pressure becomes a massive, unprotected space. Second, potential failure of the rest defense structure. This is the shape the team maintains while in possession to protect against turnovers. When Balde is high, the left central midfielder and left-sided center back must form a safety net, closing the channel behind.
He said, this is why this guy is special, because he thinks he's not particularly fast, not too strong, but he thinks about it. He said that I waited there. I know my guys are fast. Ball's gonna come and set up in.
If that safety net fails, the center backs get exposed, creating space for attackers. Analysts warned this was coming. It's a structural vulnerability that can leave Balde isolated, forced into impossible one-on-one situations after a 50-yard recovery sprint. Third, the vicious cycle. Balde's attacking runs are his greatest strength, and the system depends on them. But by pushing forward, he sets the stage for defensive chaos. The press is bypassed, the rest defense is late, and a chance is conceded down his flank. He might be criticized for poor defensive awareness, but the truth is, his brilliance in attack triggers the very sequence that can turn into a risk. The potential consequences of this systemic risk are no longer hypothetical, they're becoming visible. Alejandro Balde has been vital under Hansi Flick. His speed stretches the pitch. His vertical runs give Barcelona immediate width and transition threat. But that same aggression is part of the tension. His position is no longer beyond discussion, not because he lacks talent, because the structure around him demands precision. When Barcelona lose the ball, the rest defense must form instantly. If the left-sided midfielder is late shifting across, if the nearest center back hesitates, the channel between center back and fullback becomes exposed. At that level, that space is not a detail, it's a goal. This isn't just about Balde's confidence or form. The ripple effect runs deeper. If that left side becomes unstable, Jules Koundé gets dragged into compensatory defending. He shifts wider, he covers more ground. And the moment he vacates central space, the defensive chain stretches. One adjustment leads to another. What starts as an attacking ambition turns into structural strain. Barcelona may control matches domestically. They may overwhelm opponents with possession. But against elite opposition, where transitions are ruthless and timing is surgical, the margins shrink. The same high line that compresses space can magnify a single delay. Hansi Flick sees these issues as fixable, and tactically, they are. But the solution forces a dilemma. Does he instruct Balde to hold a more conservative position? That would stabilize the back line, but dull one of Barcelona's most explosive outlets. Or does he double down on the system, trusting that collective timing and midfield coverage will eliminate the vulnerability? The real question is philosophical. Do you adjust your principles to survive key moments? Or do you trust that your structure, executed perfectly, will withstand the highest pressure? Without a structural tweak, either in pressing intensity, midfield positioning, or rest defense balance, Barcelona are relying on precision under extreme stress. And against the very best, precision is the first thing that fractures. We come back to the beginning. The warning from analysts like Julien Laurens wasn't an attack on Alejandro Balde. It was a critique of a system built to test him. They said it clearly. A team relying on an extreme high line without flawless pressing and coverage behind it would eventually turn its most advanced player, the attacking fullback, into the fall guy. Now we're seeing that tension in action. Balde's high and wide positioning, combined with a rest defense that sometimes lags and questions over his post-injury recovery pace, has created a perfect storm. He's being asked to be a world-class winger and a world-class defensive recovery machine at the same time, a nearly impossible job given the system's structural risks. The chances Barcelona are conceding aren't coincidences. They're the direct result of a tactical warning that went unheeded. Balde isn't the root of the problem, he's the loudest symptom. Every time he's exposed, the cracks spread across the entire back line. And if the system keeps failing him, the consequences could ripple through the team. Next, we'll break down exactly how Barcelona's midfield could unravel and who might be forced to pick up the pieces.